Hello, how you doing? My name's John. Um, yeah, just thought I'd make this video to show you something that I've been working on with Power Automate and licensing. So I wanted to. I wrote a blog post about it, which is I'll stick a link in the description of this. But I just wanted to kind of go through those steps in a video because sometimes people find it easier to work with a video than with a blog post. So we'll jump over to here, and I've spun up a tenant. A couple of things to remember here is that you either need an E3 license or a Azure P1 premium license. I am inside Microsoft 365 tenancy with as an admin for for this tenancy, and we're going to jump over to make.powerapps.com, and basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to automate license assignment. So for example, we will want to look at how many licenses there are across the tenancy, as you know, count how many licenses there are across the tenancy, keep an update on how many licenses are being assigned, as well as having a kind of admin area for like central IT or someone like that to be able to see how many licenses there are and what types of licenses are available. Yeah, there's quite a few things we need to think about. Yeah, what we're going to do is first of all we need to think about where we're going to store it. I'm going to use Dataverse. So I'm going to head over to Solutions, and I'm going to create a database first because that has not been done yet in this tenancy. So let's do that. And while we're doing that, we also need to go and get some Power Apps per user trial licenses as well. So let's just sort that out. I don't want the sample apps. I'll let that go for a bit, and then we're going to go to office.com, and I'm going to add some Power Apps per user licenses. I don't know if you found this, but I noticed the admin app has kind of changed a little bit. It took me a while to find out where the licenses were, but let's see. I believe this tenancy is based in the US, so let's see if I have the same thing here. Yeah, so we're going to need to go to billing your products, and then I think even licenses. See, I can't even remember myself. Where are they? This is interesting. Can't find them at all. Power Apps. I mean, might as well search in here, right? Navigation. Integrated apps. It's weird because I had this problem a while ago where I was trying to find it, and it was like I had to look for subscriptions. Go to your projects to buy more licenses. Okay, but where are they? Maybe they're in here. Marketplace. Here we go. Right, so let's search for Power Apps, and we are going to get the Power Apps per user plan. Have a look at that, and we're going to get a free trial. This gives you 25 licenses to play with. I'll click on try now. Yep, working along nicely. And then once we've done this, I'm going to go and assign a license to my admin account inside that tenancy. Let's head back over there. Active users. And we want to find the admin account. Open that up. And give them a license for now. So we're going to need to give them a license because it uses premium connections. So yeah, there we go. Save changes, and then we might have to wait a little bit while the database still provisions, but we will see in a moment. Okay, so that's that. We can get rid of this. Let's refresh this, see how we're doing here. Okay, so let's go and into the admin center, sort out the role for give myself system administrator. All things environments. Users, administrator, system admin. Yep, right. So it should be fine. Let's refresh this page again. There we go. So one thing this solution does use is approvals. As you can see, the approval solution is not in here. So the first thing I do pretty much always whenever I spin up a new environment is I create a flow just to install the approvals solution. To do that, just create a very bog standard Power Automate Cloud flow that kicks off a start and a wait and approval, and then we can carry on doing the build afterwards. So let's do that now. Instant Cloudflow generate approvals solution. And a new step, start and wait for approval. And that's going to tell us up here in a moment with the flow checker that it's not installed. So there we go. I'll show you that in a sec. Just call it test. I'm going to send it to myself, and that's enough. That's fine. If we look at the flow checker, yeah, you can see in the flow checker there it's saying that approvals have not been installed. So that's why we need to run it. So let's save that, and then we can just let it go. And then when we come back to it, it takes like 20 minutes or so to install approvals. We can come back to it and use it later. So let's do that. Just leave that running in the background. There we go. and then that's running, and then let's head over to solution. So now we're going to start the actual build of this solution. So first of all, what we need to do is we need a new solution. I'm going to call it license assignments. And it's always a good idea to create your own publisher. So I'm going to create mine. John does flow. John does flow. Prefix JDF. And click save. And then that publisher is now going to be available to pick from this drop-down list. Hope we're all following along so far. Nothing, no groundbreaking stuff just yet. That's a bit big-headed. Might be, but hey ho. It's taking its time. A bit warm today. I would normally have the fan on, but the fan makes such a noise on the microphone that yeah. Not possible. And also I've got my kids here, so they might pop in and ask for like 3,000 snacks like they normally do. That's taking a long time. Let's just close that, just go back into there and see what's going on. Just cancel it, create a new one. It probably is there now. Okay. License assignments. Let's try and create it again. John does flow. See if we can give that a go. You hum when you're like waiting for something. I do it all the time. I'm a proper like doodle doer. Like, this is taking ages. Right, so I'm just going to use one of the ones there because otherwise we're going to be here all day. So let's create that solution. So we need to think about, like, we're going to store the solution. We're obviously going to store license assignment requests. We want to be able to store the total amount of licenses. We want to be able to submit a request for a license. We want to be able to, for admins to be able to see the progress of those license assignments as whether they're approved or not, etc. And also, we as a user, we want to be notified if and when a license has been approved or rejected. We also need to think about how many licenses are in the tenancy. We also need to think about in the flow is that the flow can only assign a license, and I'll go into that in more detail, when we haven't breached the threshold of total available licenses. So there's quite a few things to consider. But let's start off with a table, Dataverse table, to store the license assignments. So license assignments and license assignment. Yeah, that's fine. Let's click save. And right, what we need to have in here is we want to have a link to the user that is requesting the license, as well as quite a few other things. So yeah, we need approval status, like I said, a link to the user, and the license assignment ID. So the license assignment ID is that primary name column that I've just created. So let's go into the columns, open up license assignment. We're going to change that to an auto number field, which is going to increment increment as each license assignment record gets created. And we are also going to have approval status. Sorry about that, but you know, let's try again. There we go. And we are going to have a new column. This is going to be approval status, and that's going to be a choice, and that is going to be no, I'm not going to sync it globally because it's only going to be used in this solution. So we're going to have a new in progress approved and rejected. What else do we need? I think that's probably it for now. Keeping it simple. We also need a place to keep the license, the total number of licenses. So that's not new column. That's going to be new table. So let's create a new table. And we'll call this license Skews. Not to pluralize it though. And license name. Save that. And what we're going to have in there, we're going to have the name of the license, how many are consumed, and how many we have available inside the tenancy. So let's do a couple of columns in there. New column. This is going to be total consumed, and that is going to be a whole number. And we're also going to have total available. Also going to be a number. Just making sure I've got all of that right. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to call it, what have I got, total available. I'm going to rename that actually. No, I'll call it total available, that's right, that's okay. Next we're going to create a model driven app so that people in central IT can see what's happening and how many licenses are available and who's getting assigned licenses. So we're going to create a model driven app, and we are going to call this, actually before I do that, there's one thing I need to do, is go back to here, and in the license assignment table we need to create a relationship to the Active Directory user table. So in columns I'm going to do new column, and this is going to be, I think I'll call it user. Yeah, user is fine. User, and that is going to be a lookup to the the AAD, Active Directory user table. Nice. And then we're going to jump back to creating the model-driven app. We're going to create it pretty, it's going to be pretty basic. It's going to have a link to the license assignment. It's going to have a license assignment place and a license Skew area as well. Let's go over there, new app model driven. We'll call this license assignments. And I'm going to add a page from a Dataverse table, and we're going to have license assignments. and license Skew. And then in license assignments, we're going to edit that form. And we are going to, let's just have a look. Hope you're following along all right. So we can hide that, we don't need that. And we can also have user and approval status. Save and publish that. And then we are going to also have edit the view. Basically to have the same things in there. So get rid of this, and we're going to have user approval status. And yeah, my daughter has joined me for a little bit. Get the iPad. Nice one. Bye. Yeah, let's save and publish that as well. Cool, that's done. And then we are going to have a look at the license Skew table as well. Going to edit the view. Got the license name in there, we don't need that created on. We need total available and total consumed. Right, save and publish that. Let's turn off this light, it's very bright. There you go. Let's save and publish. I forget whether or not saved or published. I wish that would change slightly. Anyway, come out of there. So that's really the basics of the model-driven app and the Dataverse tables. And what we need to do now is create a form. I'm just keeping it really simple. Create a form for a user to fill in to request a license. Let's go to forms office.com. And let's create a new form. We're just going to concentrate on parrots per user licenses, but as you'll see from this, you can do it with any license. Okay, per user license request, and we're going to keep it very simple. Would you like parrots per user license? Just going to put in yes. Delete that one. Make it required. Yep, that's it. Pretty basic stuff. So next we are going to what we also need to do, and this is a key part of this, is that we need to we need to program, automate the assignment of the license to the user. Now, to do that, you need to be able to get into portal.azure.com, and we need to be able to create a new group. You can do this in a couple of places actually. You can do it either in the Azure portal under Active Directory, or you can go to a website called entra.microsoft.com, and this is basically your one-stop shop for identity and group management, all that kind of stuff within Azure Active Directory. Let's go there. And we are going to create a new group. So let's go to groups, all groups, and we are going to create a new group from here. As you can see, it looks pretty similar to Azure here. So click on new group. We need to create a security group, and it kind of states there that security groups are there to assign licenses, etc. Let's call it security group. I always like to prefix security groups with SG. Power apps per user, and then give it a description. Anyone in this group will get a Power Apps per user license. Make sure we give the group an owner. In this case, I'm going to give that to the admin account that I'm logged in as, and then I'm going to click create. That's going to create a group. It won't refresh straight away. It takes a couple of moments to do that. So just every now and again, click refresh. Sometimes it takes a couple of times. Are we there yet? No, not yet. Let's refresh again. There you go. There's the Power Apps per user. I'm going to go in there, and we are going to go to licenses here, and we are going to assign, and we're going to create an assignment for this security group. So I'm going to choose the Power Apps per user plan, and then I'm going to click save down at the bottom. So that now means anyone that is inside that security group is going to get a Power Apps per user license. Let's close that. Yep, so there you go. That's good. Let's go back to the overview. I'm going to take. We're going to need this at some point. This object ID. We'll do that in a moment. The next thing we need to do is we've created the form, we've created the security group. We also need to then go back and start creating our flow where we are going to be assigning the user. So let's head back over to Power Apps per user. I'm just going to pause for 1 second. So now that we've created the So now that we've created the Power Apps per user security group, what we also need to do is we need to create a app registration inside Active Directory. And what this is going to do, this is going to help us connect to the Graph API to retrieve how many licenses we've got. So what we need to do is we need to go into Azure Active Directory, and we are going to go to App Registrations, and we're going to create a new registration. This is going to be called license reporting. Yeah, leave everything as it is. Click register. And then we're going to give it some permissions to the Graph API. So click on API permissions over here on the left hand side. And we're going to click on add permission, and we're going to choose the Graph API, and then we're going to go in delegated permissions and type in the word directory, and we are going to get read all, write all, and add those, and then we're going to add some more permissions. This time from the user. Is user. Yeah, we're going to have user read all, read basic, read write, read all, add, and then we also need some application permissions for Graph. So over here as well, and type in directory. That's my internet connection that's taking ages. Let's just check. There it is. And let's take all of those three as well. Add those. Remember to then click on this grant admin consent and click yes. And then that authorizes the application that we've just created to connect to those API endpoints. We also need to create a secret key. So come over here into certificates and secrets. Choose client secrets and click on new client secret, and we'll just call this license reporting, and we'll click add. There we go. Don't close this page because we're going to need to come back to this to copy the value out of here. But let's head back now to our solution, and we are going to create the first flow. We're going to need a couple of flows. I need 3 in total, in fact. One is going to do a call. It's just going to run once. It's going to do a call to the licensing API endpoint to bring back the total number of licenses. We need another one that's going to assign a Power Platform license as soon as someone it's going to go through an approval process of assigning a license if it's been approved, based on some other conditions as well, like number of licenses available and all of that kind of thing. And then we also need a third flow, and that third flow is going to update the license Skew table by running a recurring flow once every day to check to see how many licenses are left. So let's create this first flow then. Let's go new automation Cloudflow automated, and I am going to create or give it a name. We're going to call it, confirm where my mouse is, get license consumption details run once, because I'm only going to run it once. And this is going to be actually it is an instant flow, so let's get rid of that, and we'll do that again. New automation Cloudflow instant, and it's going to be manually trigger a flow, and it's going to be called that. So the first step that when we run this flow, the first step that we need to do is call the endpoint where we can get the licenses from graph, and then we're going to populate that Dataverse table. Let's click on new step, and we're going to use the HTTP trigger, or HTTP action, sorry, and we're going to rename that to HTTP get license Skews. And it's going to be a get request, and that is going to go we're going to go to the subscribe Skews part of graph, and then show advanced options. We're going to connect using Active Directory OAuth. The tenancy ID, this is what that's what that means. Tenancy ID is, you can find that inside Azure. So if we go to the license reporting app registration, click on overview, which was a bit stupid because, oh no, it's still there. Let's see if it stays. So we're going to get the tenancy ID from there. We are going to get the client ID. Actually, while I'm here, I'm just going to get the secret. So I've copied that secret value, and that is going in here. And then client ID, which is the app ID of the app registration, which is here. And we're going to paste that in there. And the audience is a graph. So let me just get the URL for that. That goes in there. So let's save that. And let's just test that, just to see what happens. Make sure that this HTTP call is actually successful. The kind of failures you can get is maybe you might have copied the secret ID instead of the value into the secret field, or you might not have configured the correct permissions. But let's give it a test and let's see what happens. There you go, that's great. And you can see here it's come back with some data, which is all of our licenses across our tenancy. So what we want to do next is we want to actually, let's go back there because we need the need that response. Cloud flows. Because we'll get, whoops, one, sorry, details, a new tab. What we're going to do is we're going to copy the body response from that HTTP call, because we're going to use that to pass, use it in a pass JSON step. So let's open that up. And we're going to take a copy of the body. And now we're going to edit. Put in a pass JSON step. And we're going to pass from the body of the HTTP get license Skews action, and then we're going to click generate from sample and paste that in. Now if I have a notepad open, ignore all my rubbish. and paste that in here. We can see this is the JSON response from that HTTP call. Excuse me while the plane flies over, and you can see that in here, here's the power apps per user part. It's telling me how many consumed units there are and how many enabled units we have. So that's exactly what we need. So let's jump back into here. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add a new row for each one of these license types. So add a row. I'm going to add this to the license SKUs table. It makes its connection. There we go. And that's going to go into the license SKUs. And the license name, this is the SKU part number, this one. And also total consumed is consumed units, and total available is enabled. Let's save that. And and then we can run it, and this is going to populate the license SKUs table for us, so that we know what our baseline is. There you go. And now if we open up the model driven app, and go into license SKUs, we should be able to see our licenses in our tenancy. There you go. You can see here's power apps per user, 25 total available and 1 in use, because that was the one that I assigned myself earlier on. Nice. Okay, so that's that flow done. Now we need to create another flow, and this is going to be the kind of main flow really, which takes the response from the form, checks to see how many licenses are available, sends it for approval, and then assigns the license via the security group. All that kind of stuff, all that kind of cool stuff. So let's create a new cloud flow. And this time it's going to be an automated cloud flow. And we're going to call it assign power platform security group and license. And we're going to choose this when a new response is submitted from the form. And once that creates the connection to the form, get in there, taking its sweet time. Come on. Play nice. There we go. Right. So let's choose our form, power apps per user license request. New step. And we're going to type in get response details. And that is going to again be the same form. And then we're going to choose response ID from the previous step. Right, so the concept now is we know that we've got 25 licenses and one is assigned. What we want to do is look and create a threshold of a certain percentage that basically looks to see how many licenses are available to be consumed based on the total consumed versus the total active licenses, and then only assign a license if the threshold hasn't been breached. So this will be more explanatory. I'll explain it better as we go along. But the first thing we need to do is we need a threshold, and we're going to do that we're going to create a variable. So initialize variable, and this variable name is going to be called threshold, and it is going to be a float, and it's going to be 95. So in effect 95%. It's always good practice to rename your steps. And then we're going to do another one, and this time this is going to be another initialize variable, if I can spell, and this one is going to be active license, and that is also going to be a float, and rename it. And then we're going to do another initialize. This is going to be total licenses, and that is going to be a string. Total license. Oh, sorry, that's going to be a float as well. Total license. And then we're going to have one more variable, and this is going to be called percentage. Also a float. Rename that. And then we're going to get the user's profile, because we're going to need that ID later on to be able to, the ID from the user profile, to be able to assign it to the correct group. So get user profile. I'm going to use that from the Office 365 connector, and we are going to pass the email address into this field, and you can get that from the responders email. And then what we need to do now is we need to list rows, and because we need to check to see how many licenses are available. So we're going to do a new step, list rows, and the Dataverse action, and again in the license Skews table. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a filter, because this is just really about Power Apps per user licenses. We are going to do that from here. So I'm going to jump out of there a sec, and I need to go back to my solution, because I need to find the logical name for the filter on what we're searching for. So let's head over there into solution and into our license assignments. Oh, you can see also that the approvals have now been installed, so we're good to go on that one as well. And into license assignments, and we want the license name column and the logical name for that. So that's going to be, did I even create it? License assignments, yeah, but not. Oh, sorry, looking in the wrong table. Need to look in here. So yeah, we need this logical name. So we're going to get that from here. So filter rows that equals, and then we want this. So that's going to get us all the parrots per user rows from the license SKUs table. Next thing we need to do is we need to add a row to the license assignment table, so that as a kind of incoming request, you know, pending approval, etc. I'm going to rename that to add a new row to the license assignment table. And that's going to be license assignments. And then what actually I need to do is I need to remove the mandatory field on license assignment, so it just creates it automatically. So let me just do that. So that is back in here. Columns, license assignment, auto number, this one, and I'm going to turn this off to change this to optional. Optional, and then go back in here, add a row, and this is license assignments, and rename that again. A new row to the license assignment table, and the approval status is going to be in progress, and we also need to add, yeah, there's a few more fields I haven't added in, is there? Hello again. Yeah, so yeah, I had to stop yesterday because it was all going a bit crazy here. But yeah, need to looking at this license assignment table. I need to add a few more things in there. So I'm going to delete this step again. Delete, and I'm going to head over to back into the solution. And yeah, there was a couple of fields that I'm missing in that license assignment table. So back into solutions, license assignments, and into the license assignment table. Let's have a look at the columns. Let's go columns. And yeah, I need to look up to the license SKUs table. So let's add that. And also need yeah, that's all we need really. I'm not very happy. Alright. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the flow now and add that step back in. Add a row. And again, it's going to be to the license assignment table. We don't need anything in either of these. The approval status is going to be in progress. Now we want to get the lookup from the license skew table here, so we need to go into license skews, look at the primary name for that column, which is there, and we need to take the logical name and then we are going to do / logical name brackets, and then in the brackets we are going to be choosing the license skew. Now we could do it this way, but it's going to put it in a for each, an apply to each, which we don't really need to do. We can use the first expression. Just copy that from here. So let me expand that. Delete this, and then move that back out of there. And then we can delete this. So in here, and I'm just copy and pasting from my flow. But effectively what that does is that it says, so from the body of the list rows, look in the value part of the JSON array and bring back the JDF license skew ID. But I need to change that because it won't be that. So we need to get that from here, which is going to be this one here, because the prefix is different in my other environment. Let's paste that in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste that and put that in the in the add a note, and then do it again in here. Quite often get caught out by that by not pressing OK. Okay, so that's that. Next thing we need to do is we need to check the license quota. We need to see how many licenses are left. So we need to do another HTTP call. Actually, and while I'm there, I'm going to rename that. going to be a get, and again this is going to go to the API that has the all the subscribed skews for our environment, which is this, and then we are going to be doing that under that app account that we created. Yes! Yes, look at your phone! So we're going to authenticate using Active Directory OAuth, and we are going to need the tenancy ID again, so we're going to get that from over here. The audience is going to be graph. The client ID is from the license reporting app registration, and the client secret is going to be in here. And we're going to rename that check license quota. Right, so I'm going to just submit a form, and I am going to just check that this is working up to here, because we're going to need the HTTP response here to use it in a parse JSON step in a minute. So let's click test and manually test it, and then we're going to jump over to the form and preview that and click yes, and then come back over here. That should run for us. See what happens. Okay, so that didn't work. Yeah, what we need to do here is put in the entity set name of the table. That's why I was having a problem, and I don't know why I was having a bit of a brain meltdown there. So go to license Skew table. The old way of doing this, you'd have to make an API call to get the entity set name, but you can now get that from here. So you go tools, copy set name, and then paste that in there. We also need to do the same for the AAD users table as well. Now I actually know what the entity set name for that is. It is AAD users. Turn my phone off. That's not very helpful, is it? And then we're going to be passing the ID from the get profile step. So let's test that again now. And send another response from the form. And hopefully this time it'll work. There we go. Right, nice. So if we head over to our app, or if we head over to here and look in the license assignment table, we should see a record that's been created in here now, which we do have. Yay, good news. Right, so we need to take the HTTP license quota body from here, copy all of that, and then let's edit. We're going to do a parse JSON step down here. going to be passing the content of the body of the HTTP check license quota step. Generate from sample and paste that JSON that we copied from that run. Then we want to do a filter array. So what we want to do is, because we're only doing this for power apps per user, I'm just gonna look for the licenses assigned, etc. For that license type. So filter array, and we're going to be filtering the value of the pass JSON step, and we are going to be looking for the Skew part number equals power apps per user. Nice. Okay, so now we are going to set some variables, and this is going to be setting the active license, total license and percentage. So let's set variable, and we're going to set the active license, and let's rename that. And that we're going to use the so that we don't get into an apply to each again, we're going to use the first part again, and I will put this in the notes as well so it's easy for people to see, and then stick that in the expression. So again, what we're doing is we're getting the body from the filter array, and then we're getting the first consume units from that response, because we're only bringing back the power apps per user license part of the JSON response in that filter array. Then we're going to do a new step, set variable again, and this is going to be the total license. Add this into a note so you can all see it. So again, getting the body of the filter array and getting the first enabled section, which is inside the prepaid units part of the JSON response. Expression, let's do that in there. And then we need to rename that as well. And then we need to do another variable, and this one is going to be the percentage. And what we are going to do is never find my mouse. Add note. So what we're doing there is getting the variable, doing a division between the variable, division between active license and total license, and then multiplied by 100, and that's going to give us a percentage. And let's rename that. I think the keys on my keyboard are working very well. Noticed. Okay, let's save that. We'll give it a quick test. Great. Okay, so we've got the number of active licenses, so there's only one. Got the number of total licenses, 25, and then that gives us 4%. Cool. Okay. onto the next step then. So the next thing we need to do is we need to now check to see whether or not the percentage of available licenses is above the threshold, which we set earlier on at 95, wherever that is. Did we even set it? Yes, we did. There you go. Up there, 95. So let's edit this. We're going to do a condition, and we are going to put in here condition and we are going to check that the percentage is greater than the threshold. And if the percentage of used licenses is greater than the threshold, then we're going to send an email to our procurement team, basically to say, you know, you need to order some more licenses. So let's send an email. And once that creates the connection, we're just going to send it to us again. And the subject line is going to be a license threshold 4, and we can get the parrots per user from the filter array, which is what we did up here, I think. One of these. So that is going to be, let's go down here, and so the expression is going to be so from the filter array, the first Skew part number, which in this case is going to be parrots per user, has been breached. And we can say hi, our tenancy is running out of licenses for, and we are going to put that expression in again. Parrots per user licenses, total licenses, and that is going to be total licenses, and active licenses. That's going to be active. Say what percentage of licenses are in use right now. Then what we want to do next is we want to update the license assignment row to say that no licenses are available. And I would need to check to make sure that we actually have that option. Let's have a look at the columns. Approval status. I'm going to add an approval status here. Probably could have thought of a better name for this column, but anyway, I'm going to call that no licenses available. Save that. Once that's done, we'll head back over to here once it's saved. Okay, so we're going to add an action. data row. That's going to be the license assignment table, and it's going to be the license assignment unique ID, this one, and we're going to say that the approval status is no licenses available. And we're also going to rename that license row status to no licenses available, and we're also going to send an email to the person requesting the license to say that we can't assign one to them at the moment. This is going to be to the responders email, and the subject is no licenses currently available for. And we can copy that again from up here. And then we can say the licensing team have been informed and they will let you know when their license becomes available. Okay, so that's the yes. So that's when we haven't got enough licenses. Now we need to have a look down the other side, and we are going to do start and wait for approval. So start and wait for start. There we go. Start and wait for approval. And we're going to say first to approve, first to respond. Title, please approve or reject this request. And for now, we're just going to send it to the admin email address. But that could go to their manager or whatever, or maybe to the IT procurement team really. So please approve or reject this request to give access to display name from the Office connector to the security group to allow them to be assigned a Power Apps. We could copy that from over there again, but I'm just going to hard code it for now. Power Apps per user license. And then we're going to do a condition. We are going to, we're not going to do that. Oh, that's popped in there. We are going to condition, and we're going to say outcome is approve. We are going to update the license row, the license assignment row that we just created. Is going to be the license assignment row, and we are to change its approval status to approved. Then we are going to use the Azure AD connector. We're going to add a user to a group. For this, we need the group ID of the Power Apps per user security group. Just needed to validate that and consent to use that Azure AD connector. So the group ID is going in there, and the ID is going to come from the...
I missed something. Can you say it again?
No?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Brilliant. Didn't even ask for anything. And then we're going to send an email. This is going to be to the user to say that they have had a, say that it's been assigned. So responders, email. What we're actually going to do here is we're going to do some error handling here. So if this fails because the user is already added to the group, we're going to send them an email to saying actually you're already a member. So you already have a license. You already have a license assigned. No further action will be taken. And we can click on the three dots here and go to configure and after, and we're only going to run this if the step before fails or skips or times out. And then we are going to terminate the flow at that point. And again, we will need to configure the run after as well, because we only, well, actually that's fine, because we only really want that, we only want that to run if the step before it runs. And then we need to update the license Scott. We need to update. That's quite hard to say. Update the license Skews table to take one license off, or sorry, add one license to the total consumed. So we're going to update a row. This is going to be the license Skews table. And we only need to update the first row, which we can do from here. So row, and that is the first of the list rows, getting the value, and then the license Skew ID. But that is from the list rows step, which is up here. So license Skews, and I need to get the license Skew column, this one, copy that and put that in there for a minute, and then we'll get this again. And then we can just use place that in there. Okay. And then what we want to do is we need to add one to the active license. So we've got the active license that come back in that variable, and we're going to put this in the total consumed, and that's going to add 1 to that active license. That's great. And then finally on this bit we need to send, so first of all I need to make sure that the configure and after here, configure and after, that only runs when the terminate is skipped, and then we're going to send an email. And this is going to be to the responders email again. And we're going to say success, you now have a Power Apps user license assigned to you. And we can copy that, put that in there as well, and then we can, just maybe helpfully say, please go and try it out at psmake.powerapps.com. Finally, we just need to do one more thing in the approval. If it's not approved, send an email, and send an email again back to the responder's email address, and we just say your request has been rejected. I mean, we could fill that out and put a bit more information in there, but we don't really need to. Paste that in there as well, and then save it. So let's now jump over to let's go here, I think. So we are logged in now as Adele, and we need to get the URL of the form. So let's copy that and head back over there, and we're going to request a license. So let's paste that in there. Before I do that, let's put the Cloudflow ready to kind of listen out for that coming in. There we go. That's submitted now. Let's see what happens. That's doing all that for us. It's gone to go and check to see how many active licenses and what percentage of licenses we have. You can see that we're well under the threshold, so it's now going off for approval. So let's head over to our email address in the admin account, because we should have an approval come through on our email. Not just yet, but I think it will be coming through in a moment. Here we go. Let's just allow the block content. So Makes the email look a little bit nicer. There we go. So Adele wants to get access to the security group, so let's click submit. Back over to the flow and let's watch what happens here. Nice. So if we go to the security group and look at members, we can see that Adele is a member now, so that she is going to have a Power Apps per user license. If we head over to the admin area and check her user account out, and where is Adele? There we go. We have a look at her licenses, what she's been assigned. We'll be able to see, hopefully, that she has a Power Apps per user license, and it's been inherited because it's been managed by the groups, the security group we created earlier. Let's also look at the model driven app as well. Handy. I don't really want to get signed out. I'd like to open the app, if that's okay with you. So in license assignments we should see one for Adele. There you go, and it's approved. And then if we go in the license SKUs, we should see that the Power Apps per user license has gone up by 1 for total consumed, so that will then refresh the it will refresh the total available, or the total percentage available, that is. Yeah, there you go. I hope that has been helpful. Yeah, I really appreciate you kind of following along. And if you've got any questions, leave a comment in the chat. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye bye.